All right, and we're back for episode number 2 of season 2, Ultimate Girls Trip, the Ex-Wives Club. I will say right off the top, I'm going to say something I forgot to say episode 1. I don't think I need the show to be called Ex-Wives Club. I don't know. It sounds odd. Um, had I been like, no one seemed to, they all thought it was funny and cute, but like, it sort of made fun of them not being on the show anymore. I didn't think it was cute. I didn't. But it is what it is. They are all the cast members who have left the show and are on pause, and somebody will get to come back. Somebody won't. Who knows? I was going to ask you while we start this show, while we're recapping episode 2 of season 2 at the great Dorinda's home, and it's all fun and cute. I was going to say, go through the other franchises and list to me on the comments somebody who is an ex-wife in the regards of what we're talking about here, not an actual ex-wife, but what we're talking about, and let me know who you would want on each franchise to join another season. If Dorinda came back with, what is it? Is it 6 or 5 other ex-wives, but ex meaning from the TV show? Who would they be? Go through them all. You could do DC if you want. You could do Miami. You could do Dallas. It doesn't matter. Just pick people that have no longer continued on the show, and Jersey or Orange County or whatever, and that you would like to see back. Because I think that would be fun. Because it is an interesting concept. Because I guess in some levels they're trying to work their way back to the show, right? So I don't know. I don't know what I feel about it. So the way this show picks up, it's sort of a little bit of a tease, not a tease, but a to be continued from the night before. But we come back, and this is the thing. It's you can't when my voice goes up like that. You can't give a to be continued with no big payoff or whatever. And it's streaming, so you're just going to watch it on streaming. And of course, maybe they make the show for Bravo too. When it goes off of streaming, it goes to Bravo, as we've seen with Miami and Ultimate Girls Trip season 1. But just don't do too many to be continued, and nothing happens. It wasn't like Vicky said, "Don't you say shut the fuck up to me," and all of a sudden, like, she had an issue with Brandi. It just it was there, and then it stopped being a thing, and that kind of like ended it or whatever. If it's going to be a to be continued, make it something worthy. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're kind of giving us false sense of hope, even though we're going to watch it in 5 minutes. You should just give you a solid episode. Trust your fan base, support your fan base. They're going to come back and watch anyway. If you give something good to people, they'll come back. Like, they're going to watch regardless. When you start fooling with them, nobody wants to be fooled with, I don't think. Anyways, so we have Brandi, who she wants to go to bed for the evening or whatever. She's kind of out of it, which is great. They all kind of want her to go and stop the drinking. Brandi and Phaedra snuggle. Phaedra wants to sort of support her. She thinks that no one really is. And so Phaedra kind of feels like extending that olive branch is valuable. Dorinda thinks that she's going to marry again. And she doesn't, she says she doesn't have sex. She's like an actual human Barbie. Boy, I tell you, Dorinda could just tell a story about anything. But it is funny that she kind of lists it as, if I start seeing somebody, it's immediately the person who I would marry. I've noticed this. I don't know what astrological sign she is, but she's a very like all or nothing kind of a person. She kind of goes with all this time where it's like she hasn't really seen anyone since John, and she's like still friends with John. Everything is so passionate in Dorinda's world. And I think it's kind of adorable, but she's talking about, I'm like a Barbie down there, and just, spackle it off or whatever. She's just out of her mind, and it's kind of fun to watch. What else do we have here? Dorinda. Okay, I said that already. So I mentioned this a bit ago, but yeah, Vicky with the 30 pills post COVID. Now the thing is, it sounds very Joe Rogan, but if that's what gets you through, Vicky, go ahead. But it's when you start doing the educating of others and this, and this, but you got a frog coming out of your throat, and your eyes are like bloodshot red. Maybe it's not working. So that's really the only thing with Vicky. And I did tell you earlier in the first episode that I did that I'm going to try to not just give my opinions on this show. I'm going to try to give, because I don't have a co-host right now. I'm going to try to give counter opinions. Like if you're a Vicky fan, maybe you want to see her like stand her ground, in terms of like, oh yeah, no, this is stupid, this, and this. But I got to tell you, I was on Dorinda's side. Like, and the reason, not just because of what she said, but I think what Vicky does is she doesn't realize how passive aggressive that she is. Oh, this is actually further in the episode. You see Dorinda gets mad there because Vicky just wants to like shout out little notes and antidotes and little commentary here and there. And it feels passive aggressive is all I could say. Now, on the flip side, you got Dorinda being aggressive. But see, even with the body language that we see here, it's like Vicky, and then she folds later on and goes, oh, well, I want to be respectful of her home. And okay, yes. She's just communicating weird. So regardless of if you're correct and you've like solved the puzzle of life, like I if you feel like you need those 30 pills, go for it. But it's the passive aggressiveness. It's the, oh, I'm just going to not bug with her because it's her home and I want to be respectful in her home. But I wouldn't do that if I was the one welcoming her. Well, guess what? You're not welcoming her. Vicky, you are not the person welcoming her into your home. She's the one welcoming you. So there's no ifs in the situation. But it's fun because the biggest press thing that we see, coming into the show now that it's already airing, but before was a lot of Vicky versus Dorinda. So we're starting to see where a lot of that comes from. But again, I will, if I had to, because there's no other co-host, like I said, if I had to back Vicky, it would just be like, she is indeed sick, like she was stating, and she is indeed like coming off of an engagement or whatever. And on one hand, you could say, but this is the perfect time. You come off an engagement. You're not only with your friends or friends of, light word friends, but you get to film a TV show and you get to like be in the excitement of it all. But some people, and I could also feel this way too. If I got something going on back, that I got to deal with or whatever, or maybe I still feel like I want the engagement to continue, I don't know that I could just have fun at Dorinda's. Like I could kind of see that in Vicky's mindset. But yeah, Dorinda laid it out, and she, she starts talking. She starts talking with the hand. She starts, taking a couple steps forward. It's great because essentially this is all still the very first night in terms of the them getting to Bluestone Manor. So we've got a lot more ground to cover, but in one night we got Brandi and all of her stuff, and then we got all of them as well with their particular situations. Let's see. So the next item that we have is I kind of insinuated what it was. It's Dorinda getting mad, and specifically there were 4, Vicky telling everybody what they need to do in terms of being sick. And Dorinda didn't like it. But I kind of already mentioned that. So day 2 comes. Dorinda has an itinerary. I think it's super cute. I love it. Like I said last episode, I'm down with that. Like I will not be making fun of Dorinda. Like you get these chances to be with a group of people. Like you make it as cute as can be. You wear costumes. You do cooking bake-offs. You do games outside. I love it. I love it all. I'm all for that. Yeah, totally 100%. I love Dorinda's morning vibes. She's cozy. Almost a little bit of a dig, though. It could have been a dig. Dorinda decides that she's going to give everybody, she's going to give everyone a chill pill. Excuse me. Let me move forward here. Dorinda's vibes in the morning are great. I like it. I like that she checks in with Brandi. I feel like she knows that she has to sort of chat with Brandi, and she needs to be in specific a caretaker of hers because she doesn't want to alienate Brandi, but she wants to kind of make sure she doesn't step out of line, but doesn't want to embarrass her. I think that's what it is with Dorinda. She doesn't want to embarrass the person that she's talking to or sort of supporting in some weird way. Does that make sense? Let me take a look here. We have Vicky shouldn't be trusted. Bravo should use their own doctor to test Vicky. Vicky shouldn't be trusted. It's just the thing is like what I was stating, and thank you, Anita, for the commentary. That didn't sound fun. Commentary. Thank you for the commentary. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's just, again, speaking it but not knowing yourself, and you're kind of being out of line in that regard, and you're also telling other people how to get through the situation. If other people are in preference to do what they want to do, let them do what they want to do. You can't just tell them how stupid they are, because that's not what you think is going to solve the problem. And it's, what, I actually don't like seeing a lot of it on the television. I got to be honest with you. I want to see everybody have their little back and forths, but I don't like to, a lot of this when it comes to the TV and this, this side and that side versus, this particular thing, that we all went through for 2 years, and, were the masks worth the while? Were they not? I don't like to see, in a TV show, it's too much. We already lived it. We got to get through the entertainment. So if Vicky is mad at Dorinda for something, I'm down with it. That's fun. That's a good TV show, but I don't need it to be in the vein of Vicky does not need to educate me. She didn't even know Bluestone Manor was a gorgeous and just phenomenal place to be. So you think I'm going to trust her with her 30 pills and her no mask aspects of her life? I'm going to let Vicky be Vicky. Let's let Vicky be Vicky. But you're right, Bravo should kind of watch out for even listening to too much of what she says. Anyways, Dorinda, back with what I said, the chill pill. That was a little bit a dig to a degree, but Dorinda tries to make it nice or whatever. I like the activity for the day. I think we have, let me see, I think I have a photo of it here. Oh no, that's actually a little bit later. Hold on one second, let me find it. The activity of the day is a manicure pedicure. And I gotta say, I've never had one in my life, but they say it's very relaxing, and they're for men as well. And I would totally be down to, make my just a little like self-care a little bit. One of the things that I don't like about my show, and I love my show, is that sometimes I'm just putting so much work into it that I never really get a lot of time and chance to do the really, the things like the self-care or whatever. And I say though, and not to make you feel any kind of way, but if you wanted to support the show, it is patreon.com/RandomlyRJ. So much of what we do, and again, I've started radio in 2000. So if you feel like I'm cut from a different cloth or I do it a little different, great. If you think I don't, also great. But I will say that I've been at this career for a very long time, and it was always a weird thing to restart basically from scratch, because I had already put in my 10,000 hours, but I did do it. And, putting out these 10,000 hours in terms of like my YouTube channel, RandomlyRJ.com, and the other one, Ronnie Media page, there's like over 400 to 500 videos, and those were all just done from the lovingness of my heart. So if you ever did want to support, and I just said a second ago, I've never got a pedicure or a manicure. I've never really had little extra monies like that, but I would imagine that it would be really nice to, see that Patreon go up and grow, and, it could be a lot of the items for the channel, new camera, new microphone, whatever. But there are those times where I'm like, oh my gosh, look at me in my busted regular gray hat and regular t-shirt. It's like, you do want to step it up a little bit. So I just say that to say, if you ever want to support my Patreon, go for it. Yeah, Vicky, you should support my Patreon. Whoever, Dorinda, all of you should support it, because it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do the show. Anyways, moving forward. This was probably the best moment of like noticing that when you get the show, you're getting new stories. Let me find the photo here specifically. I put these in order. I don't know why they're not showing up in order. That is just pissing me off. But okay, this right here. This was the absolute best moment for me, because again, I said in my episode 1 that Taylor wasn't really my cup of tea in regards to a lot of stuff. It didn't really lie on Taylor. It relied on Beverly Hills. It relied on the tragedy. It was a lot, but I never in my mind would ever think that Taylor would be of interest to me at all. I like Eva. I think Eva served her purpose on her few seasons on Atlanta, and she keeps it moving. She's always been a name before and after Housewives, and I like the way she's playing it here. Weed smoking, fun vibes, got to wake up in the morning, can't really deal with you all of you in the late night, because I got to be up for my radio show at 5 a.m. or whatever. So Eva's really playing it well. But this right here, the connection with Eva and Taylor, is something that I really did enjoy. Oh, Oh no. Anita has another comment. We'll just throw it in there real quick. You could take a look at it. And then we'll move forward. And yeah, we gotta just not really talk about Vicky that much, I suppose, if that's what it's gonna be. Because we don't have time for it, not right now. But this to me was really cute. I really enjoyed seeing the two of them come together. Even in their first interaction, it's like, oh, I really like her. Oh, I really like her. And we've heard, one thing is never going to equate to the next, but we have heard the way, from the he was a musician that Eva dated when Marley's father, and that was really rough, and it's like that's not the main reason that I think these two connected, but they just really appreciate each other, and this is what I want to see in the show. I don't necessarily want to see. We already know that Eva and Phaedra have known each other forever. We already know that Dorinda makes it nice. We already know that Vicky, Tamra, and Taylor are all really close or whatever. I like when we get new bonds, new stories, and there was something that really warmed my heart. Did it do it to you too? It really warmed my heart in terms of seeing Taylor happy and Eva as well. And this was all when we were kind of at the moments of the pedicure and manicure, which I thought was great. And it's just a nice bond. They, like I said, they have a deeper talk later where tears come out, and like I said, the harsher situations, but I don't want to really get into it at the moment. But it was very lovely to see. Okay, now let's get to a really lovely moment. I mean, I do feel bad for Jill Zarin because for one, I don't feel bad in terms of, she could not film the first day based on a holiday, a Jewish holiday. So that makes sense. And I've got no issue with that. But the way they rolled it out, that she was going to have this other surprise, scary island moment. I just wish they would have all shown her a little more love. It was cute. It was adorable. It was very like Dorinda, making a scene or whatever in a good way. And no one really reacted. I don't know if that was the edit, but Jill's so lovable. She has her faults, of course. And I love the way in the episode they start referring her to as Jill VC, like QVC, like she's always got an answer. She's always selling something. And you know what? I think in that case, you don't. It's like when people talk to you and they're like, "Oh, so and so's a name dropper." It's like sometimes people aren't name droppers. Sometimes people's lives are just allocated in such a way. Is that the word allocated? But scheduled, not scheduled. Sometimes people really do interact with all of these people. Sometimes a Jill Zarin type really does know about this product and this restaurant and that. She's been everywhere. She's a great talker. She's a great communicator. I've often said, in my opinion, her early tagline was one of my favorite taglines because it wasn't a tagline. Now the taglines are like, I'm going to walk across the street, but don't press the stop sign. Like it's silly now. That was terrible. But I was just coming up off the top of my head. They're all very like, I may live by the beach, but you're the real bitch. They're just stupid now. But hers was so simple because what it did is it said, I run with the fabulous circle of friends or maybe just a fabulous circle of people. I don't know what it was. And it gave you exactly what the show was. Granted, not necessarily socialite or whatnot, but it gave you just in a few sentences. And I've always loved Jill's, I guess that was her first season. I guess they did the taglines, they kind of kept them going more than one season back then. Whatever it was. I always thought Jill was really fantastic from the very first time she said, I run with a fabulous circle. And I'm just like, oh, I've gotten everything I need to know about Jill right from that moment. So I'm actually very excited to see her. And I guess, swing and a miss, it didn't really connect. Everyone wasn't as interested, maybe because they were just shocked and they didn't want any other surprises. It could have been that. It couldn't have been a knock at Jill. It could have been a knock at, well, wait a minute, Dorinda. I knew I was going to do this show with these, this cast member, this cast member, this cast member, this cast member, but now you're throwing in people I don't know. I can't be on this show. And, there's certain people that really, don't get along. She does a great recap, but what if Kelly Dodd comes back and what does that do to certain people, on the cast? Like, I just think that's maybe where they were coming from. They weren't necessarily against Jill. I think they were just worried about who else is coming next. And then Dorinda doesn't even reassure him. Dorinda doesn't even say, oh yeah, that was the only surprise. She makes it like, I don't know. So Dorinda's like kind of funny, but also I'd be like, Dorinda, you better let me know exactly who is coming because I'm not really that comfortable filming this show with certain people, But I guess you have to expect the unexpected when you're filming the show. We have a comment. Taylor made me laugh so hard when she pointed at Brandi and was screaming, "Shut the fuck up." Yes, that's coming. We'll talk about that, of course. And I think I have a photo to correspond as well. Yeah, because it takes you to the classic moment. Everybody was getting on Brandi. I'll get back to that in just a minute. So what we have right now is we have Jill Zarin, the surprise. It's crickets, but at least Jill's here. I would have liked Jill in the first episode. I would have. I really wish she could have just started with everyone else, but it kind of keeps her in the corner, to a degree. But Jill is always going to be Jill, so I think we'll have the best of her. I just hope she doesn't get lost in the shuffle. That's all I'm saying. In the trailer, I was a little upset that she wasn't in there as much as I would have liked to see her, and that worries me. One thing that I thought was Jill, very, very Jill, was on when she was talking to all the gals. She was like, "Well, if you remember, Dorinda in season 4 was at my event." Like Jill hasn't, she can't help it. She's the princess, she can't help but try to let everyone know exactly how important she is, even when she's not like being mean or whatever. And so then they throw the flashback of Dorinda actually at that event, which I thought was cool. But Jill will let them know, "Oh, no. Before there was a Dorinda, there was a Jill." And it's like, that's just the way Jill is. But that's the part of Jill that I like. So I could never really knock it. As I stated, yeah, they all kind of called her the QVC, the Jill VC. But yeah, like I like people like that. I like people. I mean, what do you, I don't like small talk, but if you have information or knowledge on something, you bring it to the table, and you just like what am I going to do if okay, so if I've been to the Berkshires so many times, like Jill, what am I not going to say anything? And of course, Jill would probably know more about these areas and these neighborhoods than anyone else because she's the only one really local. Because you got Phaedra, Eva, Atlanta, you have all the Southern California girls, and then you have who's the other one? And Brandi's also. So you don't really have anyone like she naturally is going to have more to offer, but the way they make it like, oh, Jill VC, but it made for a really good edit. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was like, I can't really talk bad about Jill in that regard. So we have the sound bath coming up. Let me take a little beat here. Jill seems sweet. I do agree that Jill does seem very sweet. I like her. And she may have been difficult in the past. That's the thing. She gets that reputation of being more difficult, but I mean, sometimes the best people are difficult. I'm difficult. What the hell? Heck. Anyway, who cares? Okay. So the sound bath thing. So, I don't want to talk about Vicky too much, but these are the moments where I'm like, I think in our busy, like, let's say the regular people who aren't getting paid to go to Bluestone Manor, this beautiful estate, but the rest of us who are working our tail off and we don't even get a moment to get a 5-minute break or whatever, we would be through the moon to be able to sit together and have somebody take us through a sound bath. I think the fact that a lot of them didn't really get hip to this and the grounding that it does to you, and just the I mean, I don't know the words. I always wish I did, but the vibrations and if just even taking the time away. And so for Vicky to so rudely say, I won't get that hour back or whatever. I'm like, well, you're not going to get the hour back that you have the 30 pills that you have to do. And one's like making you gag. Like, I don't know. It just, that to me is the moment that was a little disrespectful in terms of Vicky not wanting to participate. But I do love that some of the other gals did. Like Dorinda was a lot of fun. Tamara was a lot of fun. And it's a peaceful thing. And I wish I can, have, like I say, when you're working, you're doing, 40 hours is like, you wish you're doing 50 hours of work, you're doing your passion projects, you're doing your, your regular stuff, you're doing your, just like life has kind of got a lot of challenges. So if you could get a moment to sit there in a sound bath, I wouldn't question it at all. I think that would be great. Like, you got to think about it. Like when you put on, let's say you put on music and you could like any genre. This is not about the genre, but if you ever get to put on, a certain kind of sound, or like sometimes I'll just want to put on jazz or a lo-fi kind of vibe or whatever, the frequency really does change who you are and makes you feel kind of good, I think. So I just wasn't really appreciative of Vicky not enjoying it, and all the people who didn't enjoy it, because there were a couple. I don't know Jill. Dorinda roasting her made me laugh so hard. No, that's true. She meaning Jill, she hasn't been on the show for a long time, and I hope she really does get the legacy. I don't want to jump across shows or whatever, but I hope she gets to be on the real world, the Real Housewives world, the legacy show, because I've always thought Jill, should at least be a friend of or something. I don't understand why her presence supposedly bothers everybody, but she's a delight. Let's see. Dorinda asking questions. Is it helpful? Okay, I don't. Let's see what that one is. Give me 1 second. So, dinner is going to be a spirit night at Vent Fort Hall. So there's the concept of, the supernatural, I guess it is, and they all get to get dressed up. It's kind of a really cool and fun time for everybody. So I thought that was that was a really fun experience. But the whole point that we keep having is the levels of disrespect when Dorinda's trying to make it nice. She's trying to show all these little things at this particular location and what it stands for and what the legacy is, and supposedly there's hauntings here and there, and just everyone is just they're sometimes really hard to get the group to follow suit or just kind of pay attention. So I could really feel a little sad for Dorinda on that. She puts a lot of energy into it, so not a bad thing, but I'll say it like that. Dorinda puts a lot into this, and I don't know that sometimes these people always enjoy it or respect, because Dorinda could have just been like, all right, we're just sitting around. She tries to do everything. Now we do get into some elements at this particular spirit night. We learned that the ghosts may be women, so they're just trying to make it really funny and get people nervous or whatever. Just real basic reality TV stuff for the most part. We have the coffee reader. There's mixed reactions, in terms of is the coffee reader, actually reading anything, or is it just all just play, I guess. The one fun moment though is I did see. I think the coffee reader. Somebody else said oh, don't rush. And Phaedra said, "Don't rush," and she sang it in the same momentum as the viral. There was a viral clip. It was one of these viral moments where I think you dressed in your regular garb or out of the shower or whatever, or not out of the shower, but just basic pajamas. And then you said the song was "Don't Rush," and then you got something in the front of the camera, and then all of a sudden when you stopped putting the thing in front of the camera, you looked dressed to the nines or whatever. But I liked it because Dorinda was not Dorinda, Phaedra was "Don't rush," and no one caught it. So I thought that was really funny, because that was one of the first things I saw. In terms of everyone, we have everyone there, which is nice. Everyone looks beautiful. Everyone has the similar aesthetic, like a silver or a black. I think Jill had a little bit of a red look, but then so did I think Taylor's jacket looks similar too. They look great. Everybody looked great. This was like the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, ex-wives club, but really a beautiful group of women, and they all seemingly wanted that outing, because the hard thing about doing an Ultimate Girls Trip versus the first season is, Turks and Caicos, they're getting to go everywhere, but they're kind of staying mostly in Bluestone Manor. And while I think staying in Bluestone Manor would be fun, I could also understand by day 2, you want to do something. So this was the outing. This was the thing. This was actually the thing. It seems like the ladies are starting to get mad at Brandi for not paying attention at the dinner table. They're starting to ask inappropriate questions, or everyone really is. Brandi specifically leading the charge. But you know what's funny? It felt like everybody was actually starting to do that. It felt like, well, no, Brandi was doing the inaccurate and inappropriate commentary, but it felt like a lot of people suddenly wanted to also, wanted to also say, oh, well, Brandi said this. And it's not like they were exactly couth also, is what I'm basically saying. It's like they were bringing it up too. So you're not necessarily that much better if you're also bringing up what Brandi said, and you're doing that while the lady is right there. So the comment was in the vein of, Brandi said that she can see And I don't like jokes like this really for the most part, but we'll just say what it was. Brandi saying, "Oh, she could see that this particular woman is a lesbian based on this." It was a joke to a degree. It's not my kind of joke, but it felt like everyone was bringing it up quite a bit. Sometimes it kind of feels like, actually I got a photo here. It feels like what Eva was saying is like, you guys won't let her do anything. So even though she was off base a little, like they were sort of looking to really not say anything without getting some type of aspect of being reprimanded. Like, did you feel that? I kind of felt that. To me, it kind of seemed that way. And yes, all the ladies are beautiful, and they just, so gorgeous. So sometimes you wish, if you could have a cast that is that astonishing, that their behavior would be a little bit better too. But I mean, we do watch the show and we understand what the show is about. So it is what it is. I'm not going to get mad at it per se. But Brandi is in the other room for the moment. She's still talking to the coffee reader, and she's still like, Brandi's doing this thing where she's like lowering her voice and kind of being like a little softer. We're like, did I do anything that was offensive to you? So it's giving Brandi a lot of room to kind of be meaner and ruder with what she says. So it's not how she said it, but it's what she says. So I think there's a level of like, Brandi, okay, too much is too much, But it was interesting because Eva and Phaedra sort of took her aside, and they kind of explained like, you're not talking as comfortably as like we're talking. Some of these other women, they hear that word bitch, it's suddenly a no. And I know people like that too with certain words. There's words that I use the vernacular with my friends or whatever that feels really comfortable, but like to other people they're just like absolutely not. So you do sort of have to respect that. Like on one level you got to do you, but on the other level you do sort of have to respect that. But did she deserve everything? Like, did she deserve, did Brandi, here's the question, did Brandi deserve to have so many people kind of watching her every word? And flashing forward to later on, you see that Tamra kind of says, well, I think that you should have kind of like been on Brandi a little bit more. Like they don't even like that Dorinda doesn't give Brandi a reprimanding situation. And I'm just like, I don't know. Kind of at one point, you three are starting to look like a little bit of the bully to Brandi, right? I mean, I know she's in charge of creating these weird situations, but at some point, I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna say that she's right or she's wrong, but I just something to think about. But it was a fun dinner. I thought it was a really fun dinner. And as I said, what I really liked was that Eva stood up for Brandi. We're seeing all these new stories develop. Taylor's becoming friends with Eva. Eva's standing up for Brandi. I like that we're not just watching a show. Yeah, I like that we're not just watching a show that we've already watched and the stories are the same stories. Like, I'm still mad at you from this. I'm still mad at you from that. Like, and then we just see the flashbacks and nothing else is different. Let's create new stories. Let's create new good stories or not so good stories. And so then I do got to mention the funny, commentary was, what made you think the lady was a lesbian? And then Brandi said her eyebrows and everyone laughed and it was a joke. It was something. Brandi just has been the center of attention really, but she does acquire with this attention. She kind of goes back and forth with Taylor. They're doing the whole like, well, I really like parts of you and I really am friends with you and this and this and this. But like one comment went over the line and Taylor, did do the classic finger, the finger in the face. And, it was reminiscent of the reminiscent. What's remnant? Reminiscent of the meme. And Brandi just takes everything so lightly and so easily. She kind of is like the enemy that that never was. But if I was in the house with her, maybe I'd get annoyed with her too, but she knows exactly what she's doing, but she's not actually that harsh sometimes. I don't think. I've seen her on the E! Channel. She had a reality show there. She was on Big Brother. Like, Brandi is she's just kicking up some dust. It's not really that big of a deal, I suppose. Anyways, Taylor sort of explains her side of the story. And we ultimately end this episode kind of, feeling good about everything. And what this show doesn't do is it doesn't do a next on, like on the next episode. So I mean, obviously we could binge it, but at the same time, you know, we don't know kind of where we're going directionally or if the episode's kind of over. But it was pretty much over. Brandi storms off, and it kind of just ended to me. Like, was there? Did I miss something? Maybe I missed something. But anyways, it was a lot of laughs and it was a lot of chuckles, and I think so far it's great. And as I said, you know, comparing the season 1 to season 2, even though I don't want to compare, you know, one show to the next, I just think this one really has a very there's the photo. I I think this season has a really good mix. You know, I've said it when I was talking about the Real World on Paramount Plus, on as far as the homecomings that they had 3 of them. And sometimes you have seasons that are so good, but they're so good based on like 2 cast members had a breakout season, but the rest didn't. And other seasons, like the Real World, Homecoming New Orleans, season 3, it was like the ensemble. Like everyone was really, you know, bringing their weight to the show. And I think that this cast has that. The one I was worried about was Taylor, and I'm really enjoying her. You know, Tamra, I'd love to see even more. So I'm not saying she's not bringing it, but I would love to see even more from Tamra. But like Dorinda's bringing it, Brandi's bringing it. Taylor's explaining some really interesting things she doesn't owe to nobody, but she's kind of like letting you in on her world. So from what I'm seeing, I really like that. That's sort of what we have in the moment. And yeah, it has been really, really cool. So this wraps up episode 2. I did a separate recap, episode 1 and then 2, and then we'll do episode 3 as well. So kind of lock them all in together. Obviously they ran together, but I wanted to break them up a little bit just so, you know, I could drink my water and not rush, you know, as Phaedra said, don't rush. Yeah, so that was it. Gonna hit you with some of my best moments, and that's the end of the show. We'll be back with another one, season 2, episode 3, another random recap. Hashtag RandomlyRJ Jr. Go to the YouTube, make sure you comment, subscribe, like, and have some fun with it. We will talk to you on the next one.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.